If you've ever celebrated Pride, there's a good chance that you probably went dancing on the streets with your friends, got drunk, got into a water gun fight, and probably hooked up by the end of the night. Guilty. Hey everyone, it's me, Ramon Rice Cake, and welcome to my channel. First off, I just want to say that I hope you're all having a great day, a fabulous night, whatever time it is that you're watching my videos. I hope that I can send you some good and positive vibes. Happy Pride! You guys, June is my favorite month of the year simply because it's the gay month. It's the gayest month of the year. It's our month. There's Mother's Day, Father's Day, there's Christmas, but you know what? This whole month is for us. It's for the queers, LGBTQ+, it's for all of us. I love that it just reminds the rest of the world that we're still here, we exist, we're living, thriving, and don't you forget about it. In this video, I want to specifically talk about hooking up during Pride because I feel like if you're young, not even if you're young, if you're old too, it's just bound to happen. There's just more of a possibility to find someone during Pride because you get people from different countries, different parts of the world coming into one city, whether it be New York, San Fran, Toronto. In my channel, I've discussed many topics, but it mainly focuses on gender and sex, dating, hookups. Because, you know, I like to be a sex-positive channel. I think it's very important to not shame anybody, and I think it's important to talk about sex because we're constantly educating ourselves. There's always something new to try, and I think it also just gets rid of the stigma around it, the taboo of it all. So I thought I would poke fun at myself a little bit here and share with you some of my worst hookup stories during Pride. Okay, my first story is when I was in my early 20s celebrating Pride in Toronto. I believe it was the last night. It was a Sunday night, the end of the Pride weekend. So this is after the parade, this is after all the water gun fights, the dancing on the streets, the drinking, and this is a whole day long fiasco or celebration. It's a whole day long celebration, and so obviously by the end of the night you're just so tired, right? So anyway, I ended up at this club and of course with all my friends, drinking, sweating, feeling so gross but also amazing. And so I meet this guy who lives in a city near Toronto. At the time I wasn't living in Toronto either, I was living in another city. So I was living on this end of Toronto and he was living on the opposite end. And so we both were living with our parents at the time, so we didn't have a place to host, to hook up, you know, where to go. And I was also really broke at that time. And I think he was too. So anyway, so we meet and we're dancing at the club. It's all good, making out, good kisser. Now by the end of the night, I remember it's like 2 a.m. so the clubs are starting to close, people are starting to leave, and it's like you never want to be the last people at the club when they turn on the lights and they're like kicking you out. You never want to be that bitch, you know? So I remember leaving him, saying bye to my friends, and we were just like holding hands, and I see the streets are like starting to die down as well. And it's just like, oh, it's kind of a sad feeling, especially when you're a young queer, when you, like your first few prides are so monumental, it's so big, and they're the most memorable ones, I think. This one was memorable because the weekend was already so great, and then I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna have my hookup now. But so obviously we're holding hands, we're down the street, but we both don't have a place to host. We ended up, god, I can't believe I'm even sharing this because it's so gross, but we actually ended up just kind of making out by this parkette near this gas station. And so because it was still kind of we could still kind of see light because of the gas station, so we're kind of in this park, and we're just kind of laying down on the grass just kind of like, you know, making out, whatever. And then next thing you know, I start to feel so itchy. I'm like, is it just me? Is it just like mosquitoes? Is it like, what is it? You know, it's nighttime. And he goes, no, I'm starting to feel itchy too. And I'm like, oh my god. We get up and I see a ton of ants just on my legs, on my arms. I'm like, oh my god, it was so itchy and so uncomfortable. And it happened to him as well, and I was like, this was supposed to be the cherry on top of a great weekend. Instead, it was like a rotten apple. To this day, I still don't even really know what they were. They were definitely some kind of like, not just like a regular ants. I feel like they were red ants or something. I don't know. It almost felt like they were biting. And then I think once we got up and just started to walk it off, we're like, are we really gonna try to find another place? Like, are we gonna go to another park and lay on the grass and like same thing happened? So it's just like, okay, night's over. Good night. So this next story, I was actually celebrating Montreal Pride, and it's just as good as Toronto's, just a little bit smaller though. It's a smaller city. The French Canadian men are so beautiful. So they all have this look to them, this European kind of suave, I don't even know. They just have this European look to them that I find really attractive. So anyway, I'm with a group of friends staying at a hostel, and I swear there was like 8 of us sharing one room. There was like a few bunk beds, and so it was just a crazy, drunken, wild weekend. Montreal's known to be a party city, and we went to a bunch of their after hours, and I meet this tall, cute guy, and he actually ends up being from Toronto as well. Now this time, I did have a place, but it was shared with like 7 other people and on bunk beds. And so I'm like, am I really gonna do this? Mind you, again, this is me in my early 20s, and I was like, do you have a place? Like, where are you staying? He's like, no, I'm here with a bunch of my friends as well. I'm like, okay. And I thought this guy was so attractive, so I was just like, I need to hook up with you tonight. And so anyway, my plan was to leave the after hours, leaving my friends there. I'm like, oh, I'll just do like a little quickie, a little hookup, and they won't be there. So I was like, just kind of taking that risk. So we end up going back to the hostel, and so I think I was on the bottom bunk, and these beds had curtains, so like you had some privacy. So I swear, again, we were only like 5 minutes into it, and then of course my friends barge through the door, and it's like they're all like, oh, you know, go to bed, about to crash. A bunch of them start crashing, and so the person at the top big thump, and so we're just like, oh my god, are we really gonna like, am I really gonna hook up here like with my friend above? Of course we didn't go all the way, but we did a little bit, you know. We just quickly kind of finished up and he was off. But I think that was the first time I've ever hooked up with other people in the room. The next day, my friend who was sleeping above me was like, so you had a good time last night? And I was like, oh god, what did you hear? He's like, oh, you know, just a few moans, but nothing crazy. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I was like, I was trying to finish up. He's like, yeah, I know, it's okay, it's all good. And now that I'm thinking about this moment, I'm like, would I ever do something like that now? No. Oh god, the park or in a hostel in a bunk bed with my friends around? No. Like, I don't see me doing any of those hookups anymore. But it's just crazy that at the time I was so thirsty, I was so young, wild, free, and I don't know, it makes for a good story. Memories like that just kind of encapsulate that kind of, you know, where you were in your life at that point, and I was just living and enjoying my youth. If you've made it this far and you liked my stories, then make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment for me down below. Are you celebrating Pride this year? What are your plans? I know with Toronto right now, it's still in a lockdown, so we can't really do much other than go to patios. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!